In a small town, there was an old man named Sam. He was homeless and lived on the streets with his dog, Buddy. Sam didn't have much, only a tattered coat and an old violin. Every day, he would sit on a bench in the town square playing his violin. His music was simple, but full of emotion. Some people stopped to listen while others passed by, but Sam didn't mind. His violin was his companion. Sarah, the baker, was one of the few who always listened. She would often watch Sam play from the window of her bakery, and sometimes she'd bring him a loaf of bread or a warm drink. Tim, the coffee shop owner across the square, also enjoyed the music. He would listen from his shop or step outside for a few minutes. One cold afternoon, as Sam played, the last string on his violin snapped. He tried to tighten it, but it was useless. The violin was broken. Sam felt a heavy sadness. Without his violin, he couldn't earn money, and he didn't know how he would feed Buddy or himself. Buddy, lying quietly at Sam's feet, looked up with sad eyes. Sam petted his dog, but he didn't know what to do. He had no money for a new violin. How would he survive? Sarah, who had been watching from her bakery, hurried over. "Sam, what's wrong?" she asked. "My violin is broken," Sam said, showing her the damaged instrument. "I can't play anymore." Sarah frowned. "We can't let you stop playing. Your music means so much to us." She thought for a moment. "Let me help. I'll help you get a new violin." Tim, who had overheard, walked over from his coffee shop. "We'll help you, Sam," he said. "We can't let your music stop." Sam shook his head. "I don't want charity," he said. "I've gotten by on my own. I don't want to take anything from anyone." Sarah and Tim exchanged a look. They understood Sam's pride, but they also knew how much he meant to the town. Tim spoke softly. "Sam, this isn't charity. We just want to help. You've given us so much with your music. We want to give something back." Sam hesitated. "But without my violin, how will I feed Buddy? How will I survive?" he asked. Sarah placed a hand on his arm. "At least let us help Buddy. He needs food, Sam. You can't do it alone." Sam looked at Buddy, who was resting his head on Sam's feet. He loved his dog more than anything. Finally, he nodded. "I'll let you help Buddy, but I don't want anything for myself." Tim and Sarah smiled. "That's a start, Sam," Tim said. "We'll help Buddy, and then we'll figure out how to help you." The next day, Sarah and Tim spread the word around town. They told people about Sam's broken violin and how much his music meant to the community. They decided to organize a concert and fundraiser. People could donate to help buy Sam a new violin. Sarah would bake her best treats, and Tim would serve coffee. The whole town was invited. When the day of the concert came, the town square was filled with people. Lanterns lit up the trees, and the air smelled like fresh bread and coffee. Sam stood at the center, holding his broken violin. Buddy sat quietly beside him. Sam felt nervous, but he knew he had to play. He started slowly, his hands shaking. The first few notes were uncertain, but soon the music filled the square. It was the same song he always played, but it felt different this time, more powerful, more emotional. The crowd stood still, listening intently. When Sam finished, there was a moment of silence, followed by applause. People cheered and clapped for him. Tim and Sarah walked over to Sam, smiling. "We've raised enough money for a new violin," Tim said. Sam looked at them, overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you," he said quietly. "I didn't think anyone cared." Sarah handed him an envelope. "You've given us so much with your music, Sam. This is our way of giving something back." Sam looked at the envelope, tears welling up in his eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. From that day on, Sam played his violin every day in the town square. His music once again filled the air, and he no longer felt alone. He knew he had a community behind him, and he had learned that sometimes it's okay to accept help. The kindness of Sarah, Tim, and the people of the town reminded him that even in the hardest times, there is always a little kindness waiting to be shared.